Hello, everyone. We are in the Old Testament book of Joshua. Today we're in chapter 3. The first chapter, God called Joshua to take over for Moses after his death. In the second chapter, Joshua sent 2 spies into the city of Jericho to scope things out, and they came back with a report. Now, Jericho is the first city of the promised land that the Israelites are about to take. But now as we get into chapter 3, it's time to move the Israelites into that city. And it's not going to be that easy. It's one thing to send 2 people, but now we're talking over 1 million. And not just 1 million people, but all of their possessions and all of their livestock. So as we read this chapter, we realize that it's a lot about logistics. But even so, it seems that there are 3 themes that jump out at me that I think we can walk away with today. The first, you'll notice, is the role of the Ark of the Covenant. It's as though God wants to be clear that he is the one that is making straight the path, and that we are ultimately following him and dependent upon him, lest we forget. The second thing we'll see is that he does indeed affirm Joshua's identity as the mortal leader of the Israelites, and he does so in such a way that the Israelites will recognize exactly what God is doing through Joshua. And then the third thing I notice is that God sets up a strategy that requires that the people of Israel, the people under Joshua's direction, have to take a step of faith before they can realize the power of God. Let me show you. At the beginning of the chapter, Joshua is giving instructions as to how things are supposed to happen. And one of those instructions has to do with how they're going to move the people in. And he says that we're going to bring the Ark of the Covenant carried by a team of priests through the community. And then people are going to fall in line behind the Ark. But interestingly enough, they're supposed to be at a great distance. So you might ask, why are they following the Ark? Here's what it says. Since you have never traveled this way before, they will guide you. Stay about half a mile behind them, keeping a clear distance between you and the Ark. Make sure you don't come any closer. So the question you might have is, why does there need to be such a big gap, half a mile distance between the people following the Ark and the Ark itself? So there's a couple of possible explanations. One is that there may be some danger associated with being too close to the Ark. I'm not sure about that. And if that were true, I wouldn't be excited about being one of the priests required to carry the Ark. But that's one possibility. Another is that when you have 1 million people, it's not like they're following in a single file line. It is going to be a massive blob of people that are moving along behind. And so a half-mile distance might, in fact, be what it takes in order for everybody to be able to look out and say, yep, there's the Ark, we're following it. But there might also be another reason, and that is to make clear to the people of Israel and anybody else who's watching that the people of Israel are following God. The Ark represents God's commandments, the 10 commandments, and the law, the thing that holds and unites them. And they are following that which unites them. And so maybe there's a metaphor here that we're to be latching onto, that God is the one indeed who makes straight the path. And it needs to be clear to us and clear to all those around us that we are following him. Now, God begins to speak to Joshua specifically. At verse 7, he says this, "The Lord told Joshua, 'Today I will begin to make you a great leader in the eyes of all the Israelites. They will know that I am with you just as I was with Moses.'" So how's this going to happen? God is wanting to establish Joshua's credibility as one who is in relationship with God, and that therefore the Israelites should listen to. He's going to do it by repeating the miracle that we've already seen. Moses got to be a part of God's parting of the Red Sea, and Joshua is going to be a part of stopping of the River Jordan. The Israelites have to cross that river. And there are instructions that God gives to Joshua, and they go like this, beginning at verse 13. "The priests will carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth. As soon as their feet touch the water, the flow of the water will be cut off upstream, and the river will stand up like a wall." God is saying that as the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant step into the Jordan River will stop. Now, what's interesting to me is that it would be more convenient and certainly more easier for us to swallow if we were one of those priests, if God would do us the favor of drying up the river in advance. But that's not how this is going to go. In fact, the text points out that the river is actually running at full flow, bank full, because it's right after the rainy season. And so the river is roaring. All the more reason to not be excited about stepping into it on faith. But that's what God calls for. God says, I need you to step into the river. I will make straight the path and I will stop the waters when it's time. But you need to have the faith to walk in. And I think that might be the lesson for us today, as we recognize that it is God that makes everything possible. It is God that makes the path straight. It is God who empowers the leaders around us and in us in order to share the good news of Jesus Christ. And it is God ultimately who responds to our acts of faith. So maybe today there's an opportunity for you to share your faith with somebody, for you to tell somebody about how God's love in your life has affected you. And you know what? The circumstances might not seem exactly right. The river might still be flowing. But take that step of faith. Step into the water and share, even though it might not seem just right. God will come into that moment. God will hold back the waters and make straight the path and make it clear. So that's, I think, our invitation. Let us be bold and faithful, knowing that as we are being obedient to God, He will keep His promises always. Have a great day, everyone. If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.